if you had to talk percentage to say the projects that go to men, let's talk budget rather. If the money is 100%, how much do you estimate goes to men? How much do you estimate goes to women? Because by now we should be talking 50-50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I doubt that's the case, because where are the female producers? I don't see them. You know, people that I started with in the industry, I love them with all my heart, but they're still, you know, in that acting space. So then where are the producers going to come from? They're going to be students that studied at AFDA. So if things like that still happen, where just because I'm female, he probably looked at me and somebody was saying maybe he wanted to smash that. I was like, no, nigga said nothing about, even if he had asked, it was going to be a no. But we didn't even have a conversation. Do you understand? So where do you go wrong also as a female producer? What do you do? Do you give it up? Do you sell your soul? Like, what do you do? Even if you try and be professional as you can be. I mean, I remember there was a time it was like, we are not talking, we are not friends, we are here to work. And still, I look at my sister, you know, Connie, whom I love with all my heart. I've looked up to her from day one. I mean, every step she's taken, I have taken. When her husband died, that was the end. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Welcome to the Fix Africa podcast, where we discuss solutions that can fix Africa. Today we've got a very special guest. We all saw her growing up on Generations on television, and she's evolved over the years from a model, a TV producer, an entrepreneur, and I'd like to say a business mogul. Welcome, Sonia.
Thank you very much. I was never a model, but I think I started during the time where they were looking for model types that could perform. So hence, then I would get all those gigs from the models. I stole all of them. But yeah, I know it's labeled as model, but it was more of an actress, you know, who could perform.
Perfect. I like that. Let's start off where it all began. I mean, when you started off in the industry, what were you thinking, or what was the goal when you started off?
You know, that's a very good question, because people can literally click on TikTok and become famous, and then we would have to join an agency, you would have to go study, you would have to go to a drama school, you'd be prepared, you know what I'm saying? But with me, it has always been that burning fire. I would watch television, I would watch people like Me Rosaline Morapedi, and I would be like, I'm going to end up like her one day. I was so TV obsessed that we didn't have TV at my house. I would watch next door. So literally it was a ritual. They knew a certain time Sonia will knock, and Nomtandazo then will knock on the door, watch television, and they would have to, you know, walk, even though it was next door, they would have to walk me because I was young and watch me, you know, enter my gate, knock on the door, make sure that I'm home safe. But yeah, I've always known that this is something that I wanted to do. To answer your question, burning desire.
I love that. And I mean, in the industry, you've evolved, you've sort of done it all, I think. And I think...
Not everything.
But I mean, you've done very well. I mean, as you end up as a producer, that's amazing. And what you've done with Real Housewives is also very amazing. But I want to talk to you about transitioning from being an actress to now being this businesswoman. How's the transition been?
It's not easy. I've always known that it was a trajectory. It was something that was bound to happen, because even when I started as an actress, I had this creative side to me. I would write music lyrics. I would write short stories. I remember the first time I was on a flight, I was fascinated by the beef or chicken scenario, and I wrote like a short story about that. Is it beef or chicken? You know,
beef or chicken,
beef or chicken. You know, before they had other options like your vegans and whatever. So I wrote a short story about that. So for me, it was never a shock that I would move now from being in front of the camera to behind the camera. So it was always there, and I didn't just jump into it. I didn't leap into it. I didn't want also people to judge me based on the fact that, oh, she's an actress, so no, it's going to be easy for her to make the transition. So I had to apply myself. I had to study with the NFVF. I took the Sidiba program. They teach you how to write. I took a producing program, traveled all over the world. I traveled to the UK, to the US. I would literally write to the producers and say, I want to be a producer. Can you invite me to your set? I want to see how things work. So that's how the transition was. I applied myself. I didn't just become a producer, guys. I had to work for it.
I love that. I mean, in this day in industry, we hear that, it's a male-dominated world.
True.
People sort of say, okay, there's too much male aggression, and that maybe is the problem with the industry. Did you find when you started off, did you find any of those things, any of those difficulties in terms of that?
Yeah. Without a doubt. There is this boys club thing that happens in the industry where, I'll give you an example. I was pitching for something, or I was trying to pitch for something with one of the OTT platforms, and spoke to this guy. Listen, I wanna get in. I've got like content. I had pitched it to the head of the channel, and they loved it, but they were like, look, somebody's going to start in Feb. So why don't you wait for them? And when they start, then they'll start with your program, or your program will be one of the things, they call them titles nowadays. Your title will be one of the things that we move forward. Person starts in Feb, I leave them March, April, May. I'm thinking, come on, you must have settled in the office. Reach out, hey, listen, I've sent you something, I've spoken to your boss, they love it, they just want you to take it to the next level. Blue ticked, ignored, whatever you want to call it. Now I'm becoming a stalker. And then one of my guy producer friends calls me and says, hey, I believe you are talking to this particular person, the one that started in Feb. I believe you're talking to them. Can you give me their numbers? I was like, sure, by all means. That was in May. In June, I'm like, let me check. I'm like, hey, buddy, did you speak to the guy? He's like, yeah, we already have 2 titles with them already under development. So I had to wait for all these months. Blue ticks,
sure,
being ignored. And a guy producer friend of mine, by June, I think he asked for the numbers around May, but by June he was already in. So it's out there. It's happening. It is what it is. We just take a sip and ignore it.
Sure, shocking. I mean, so we've heard the country prioritize and say, women need to be prioritized, they need to be given equal rights. And I mean, it's quite sad hearing that the industry is still doing this. But for me and, maybe people viewing, where could the industry be getting it wrong?
Oh, guys, I don't even know. I don't like politicizing things, because politics are not my forte, but I do have a voice. I do have something to say. The industry went bad and went wrong a long time ago. I mean, even today, the biggest producers out there are your male producers. Your Duma Gandlovu, who's my mentor. I love you, Buduma. I mean, he's got 4 shows now in some of the channels. Transitioned from an SABC platform to another platform easily like that. It's still male dominated. The same males that started the industry years ago are still the ones that are still dominating till today. And it's like Hollywood. They choose who they let in. And do you sell out or do you stick it out?
Sure. I think for me, what's most shocking is that these are things that were supposed to already have been fixed.
No. We are still backwards. Women are still in the back foot of the receiving end of whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. And the sad part is we work twice as much, if not harder. Women can juggle, women can multitask, women can do it all. I was saying to my children the other day, it's funny how you want me to be the best mother, the best producer, the best parent, the best whatever, but you don't give me a chance to sit in the pocket of whatever it is that I'm doing and cheer me on. Do you understand? I've raised my kids. At this age, I don't have to hold their hands. They didn't go to the mall the other day because I wasn't there. At 16, you can go to the mall by yourself. You know what I mean? So I'm still, as a woman, we're still expected to fill in all these pockets of whatever department we're trying to achieve and excel in, but we are still expected to nurture. And I have no problem with that. But at 16, I think you can make your way to Senton Mall.
That's true. That's true. Are you a feminist? I mean, what are your thoughts around feminism?
Oh my goodness, I don't know. That question is always a tough one. I'm a woman's woman. I am a championing, pioneering. We'll be them Kontombogoto. We are there. We are fighting for our women's rights, right? And I will stand in the front lines. However, what is feminism? Feminism for me is believing and pushing and doing what you believe in without the confinements or being boxed into this title woman. So yeah, if I'm the one who will go out there and bring one of the biggest formats in the country, not only South Africa but in the country, sure. If I'm going to be the first person to start anything, a revolution, if I'm going to be there, let's do it. Does that mean I'm a feminist? It just means that I'm a person who believes in pushing and fighting for what you want.
Interesting. I like that. Pushing and fighting for what you want.
Yes.
Let's talk about Real Housewives, because I think you've really made it very successful. And I think for me, it's been an interesting... I always say that when you watch Real Housewives, you sort of ask yourself to be like, okay, when I'm finally getting married, am I going to
allow my wife? He was about to say that.
No.
Am I going to allow my wife?
It was not going to be allowed there.
No.
But maybe let me start here. I mean, when you took the franchise and you brought it to South Africa, I think it's been very successful. What were you aiming? What did you want to achieve with it?
So I am a reality show nerd. If I want to watch something serious, it depresses me. The news depresses me, documentaries. I'm now getting used to it because I want to venture and move and shift my gear into the documentary genre. So because that's where I want to be, now I have to study all documentaries. I don't want to be told so I will watch. But in terms of reality shows, I would watch anything that will numb my mind, make me fall asleep. I don't want to think about anything deep, so I would binge on reality shows. And one thing that was fascinating is these are real people and their real lives and they're willing to depict them and put them on television for everyone to access and watch, and it was fascinating for me. I was like, these are not actors, because I come from a world where you're given a script,
yeah,
and you need to perform. And for me, it was like, these are real people, guys. The Kardashians are the Kardashians, and one of them make them billionaires individually. So that was fascinating. So I would watch the format, the Real Housewives format, and I would think it's gonna work in South Africa, in Africa, purely because I know these girls, the sisters. I hang out with them, and I know all they want is to be exposed. They want to be put on a platform because you know what? They got it. They want to flaunt it. Why not? So that's what made me think it was going to work, and I was right.
So I mean, you've achieved massive success as a producer. So I'm hearing you say you want to sort of move more into documentaries.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you mean by documentaries? What would you want to?
Real life depictions, people who have been around, people who have lived, people who have pioneered, people who have made a change, people who have shocked us in some way or another, people who have impressed us in one way or another. Those are the people that I want to take their real lives and put them in a TV documentary form. Let's learn more. Let's find out. Let's get into the psyche. What is wrong with this person? Why are they serial killing? What went wrong? Who's your mother? Who raised you?
Interesting. And I mean, what do you think makes a great documentary? I mean, what are your thoughts around some good documentaries?
I think documentaries are obviously, like I said, a depiction of a true story, something that we've heard of, something that has shocked us, something that has surprised us. And for me, it's delving deep into it. Again, going into the psyche. What makes a person who they are? What motivated them to do whatever it is that they did? And how did they get away with it if they did? So it's just delving deep into the human psychology. And
so it's like fascination with their mind.
Yeah, dissecting the mind.
Okay, interesting. And I mean, you've also had a very interesting entrepreneurial journey. I read something about your water business that you started and the different businesses that you have. What ignites you to be a go-getter as a female entrepreneur?
I'm a mother, single mother of children who are not staying young. They're growing. They want them kicks. They want, the MacBooks. They want this and that, the latest AirPods. They want to belong. They want to fit in with their friends. Their peer pressure, everything that comes with it. So for me, it's my children that make me want to wake up every morning and push for them. I do have the chutzpah, I do have the energy, I do have the stamina, but I think what motivates me are my children, because I don't want my kids to starve. And I don't want them to be exposed. Your mother doesn't have money, does she? That's why you are not going on that trip. Right? So no, man, my kids are they gave me the kick in the butt.
Nice, yeah. Oh, that's inspiring. And you growing up, how did you grow up? Do you feel there's always, how people are always like, if your parents were too strict, then when you are a parent now, then you don't become that strict. So how do you contrast, your growing up and the way that you're raising your kids?
Funny enough, my mom, I kind of raised her. My mom was raised by her aunt, and for a long time she believed that was her mother, her aunt, her mom's younger sister. So obviously when the aunt had other children, they had, other motives to kind of tell my mom that, you're not a sister type of thing, right? So obviously when she found out that I'm not born of this family, it affected her quite a lot. Her self-esteem, it just took a toll on her, and I had to pick her up, because now you are growing up in this family, and this is a family of comrades. I mean, my grandfather was the one that raised my mom, was the person that in the entire Ekurhuleni, it was called Katoras at the time, would help people get their pension funds, their road accident funds, their papgeld monies. They would come to his offices and he would help them, attack the system and get their own and get what belonged to them. My grandmother, the woman that raised my mother, started before tenders were tenders, guys. She would literally get a tender. I think I would call it a tender because then it didn't have a term. But she would feed all the people that were arrested in the local police station. So we would wake up as a family at 4 o'clock, cook, make sure that we go to the police station and take them food, whether it was whatever staple food that we were feeding them, whether it was umtogo, or whether it was istambu during the day, whether it was ipapa in the evening. That's what we did. As a family, we did that. We woke up and we would all wake up and all go. And, those people would tell us, through a little hole, please tell my family that I'm arrested. Ask them to bring me toothpaste and toothbrush. So I come from that very strong Black community people, and for her to now learn that she doesn't really belong there, it broke her. So I had to pick her up. At some point, I was the one who was paying bills, because she would get her salary and give it to me, and because she was not in the right state of mind. Now that I'm grown, I realize that it was depression. It was, do you understand?
Yeah.
She went through a lot, hence sure. she was debilitated. She couldn't function the way that she used to function. So I kind of raised her. So in a sense, we grew up together and we grew up very close. My mom is my hero. I don't have a role model. She is my shiro. She is my role model. From just having to pick herself up and, build herself from the ground up. And with my kids, I think I try not to be their friend because I'm still firm, but I'm a cool mom. I'm a cool mom, man. I get down. I have conversations with my daughter. I'm like, how was your day? She's like, so today. And I'm like, yeah. And I listen. And she'd be like, and I try and interrupt. She'd be like, mommy, wait. Let me cook. I'm not done. Let me finish. And then I will sit there and listen. And, she makes me laugh. I think she's a comedian. She can sing, she can dance, she can perform, she can, I'm there for all of that.
Oh, wow. I love that story because, I mean, it shows that you had to grow up strong and you also had to pull the community together. What were you holding on to while that was happening? Because I can imagine your mom's situation must have been something very challenging.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people expect their mothers to sort of,
Yeah.
So what was your strength in that time? I can only imagine what.
For me, I'm an only child, number one. So it's not like I had brothers or sisters to turn to and say, "Ngithwalise nomthwalo." So I have a motto, a philosophy that I live by, that if it is to be, it is up to me. And it's something that I picked up very early in life. So there was no choice. I was the only child. I was the only one there. I had to do it.
Had to be strong.
I had to be strong. I had to do it. And somebody said to me recently, stop referring yourself as strong, because that's how society wants to package you. They want to package you as the strong person. And when you're going through it, they're like, you're low, strong, she'll make it. But I mean, yeah, if I'm going to be packaged, if I'm going to be labeled, I would be labeled as strong, because I had to be that from a very early age.
I like that. And I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with being strong, especially because you're in the media industry. It's male dominated. There's egos, there's this. So I think it makes sense.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Now, talking about that, I mean, you've been on both sides of the spectrum. You've been an actor and you've also been on the other side, the producer, the owner. There was a few conversations that rose up in South Africa about actors saying, listen, we're underpaid. These are the issues we're experiencing. Having been on both sides, what do you think about that? Maybe let's start there.
Ooh, that's a very tough one, especially for me to answer, because like you're saying, I transitioned from being in front of the camera. And that's the reason why I left, that soap. Because, you would go in around October, because then that will be renewing the contract, renegotiating time. And you get there and you get told that you are getting 2% increase. So it's like, then what's the need of me being called into the office and being told that I'm only getting 2% increase?
Sure.
So I had to do my research. I had to be resourceful, befriend people at the SABC, get the ARs, because they'll tell you who watches, what age, is it male, is it 80% female, 80%.
Also, you sort of became a producer
So
by trying to find out.
I started sniffing around and seeing that my character was actually top 5 in terms of being watched. And it went as far as even saying that if Ntombi was not in that episode, or if she wasn't in the first segment, because a 56-minute episode has about 6 segments. So I would be told that if Ntombi is not in the first 2 segments, people would get up and go make coffee or go make tea or go wash dishes.
Oh, wow.
So I had to dig deeper. So when I sat with them, I was like, guess what? I know that if Ntombi is not in the
bring
first 2
the money.
segments, people will leave and go make tea. So that's when I then, took my power back. Then that's when it would move from 2% to settle at about 11% increase, which was better than the 2% that I walked in the door with in the first place. So yeah, I had to start being smart from then on. Now on the producing side.
So let's start here. Did you find that the money is way different on the actor side and the producing side?
The money is not yours as a producer. Let's start there. You are commissioned to produce a show. You are given a budget, and within that budget, you must make it work. You were talking about setting up offices. It's about from stationery to where we're operating from, to production vehicles, to employing people, crew, and we would work with 2 crews. We had 2 units. So it's 60 people, because every unit would have about 30 people, and I'm not talking about the 12 that's in the office. And then there's the cost. So you end up employing about 90 to 100 people at a go, and that money goes to that. It's not yours. You will only get 10% of the production fee, and you find yourself even digging into that production fee, because now you want to fly the ladies to the Maldives, and you are told that the budget for that is 100K, and you're like, what am I going to do with 100K with 8 cast members at the Maldives? Now you need to make barter deals, trade exchanges. Now you have to tap into your own production fee money and make sure that they go to the Maldives and make it look like It was fabulous. So to start off with, the money is not yours. It's the broadcasters, and it's not for you to chow. It's for you to employ.
But did you find that America, because I mean America's, when we look at budgets from movies to series to the Real Housewives, they budgets seem very big. Do you find
I
that?
almost laughed. Are you comparing us
Oh.
to Hollywood? Are you really?
Okay, but hold on. I have.
So let's not play. There's no money here in South Africa. There's zero money.
How do we fix it though? Because I mean, we need to get to a point where we fix it. But okay, maybe let me start here to say, okay, so I get what you're saying, and I think it makes so much sense, because you're basically saying you brought in a new concept that didn't exist before. Because reality TV just used to be one person, and I'm guessing the budgets would work for that.
Look, just to correct that, Real Housewives is an NBC universal format. So NBC, they have other formats. Your MasterChefs, they have like a lot of formats. And then they have like a bouquet of what you can choose from, right? In terms of wanting to have their shows and buy the rights. So you don't even buy the rights, you pay for the licensing fee. So you get licensed. They give you the project, then you run with it. But you must make it work in terms of, if a format is like this, you stick to it. They give you a Bible for it. So you can't veer off. So with Real Housewives also, it was a question of, we need to stick to the script. However, make it work for the South African audience, if you know what I'm saying. So I'll give you a quick example. In New York, because the president of entertainment from NBC is one person that I built a very strong and good relationship with. And at some point I was like, Barry, where do I begin to produce this show? He was like, number one, follow the Bible. And number two, make it work for South Africa. You know what South Africans want. You know the South African audience. So how can you make it work? And I was like, I don't know. He was like, look at New York. What makes the Real Housewives of New York is what? They all have apartments. They stay in Upper West Side, Upper East Side, and they all have houses in the Hamptons. So that's a theme with that. Look at Atlanta. You know, they all started as people who are trying to rebuild themselves. Portia Williams was divorced and starting over. Kenya was Miss America and, you know, lost the title and was trying to rebrand herself. Nene Leakes was a stripper and she was trying to rebrand herself. So there's a theme that you need to follow that is consistent with whatever city, whatever country. And he was like, what makes South Africa South Africa? What do you think will entertain South Africans? And I thought, oh my God, that's a deep, but simple question. Mothers and daughters, we have this thing between us. Like I said, I went into a whole thing about my mom. So I was like, find a mother and daughter duo. And that's how Madame and Messi came into the thing. Oh, so it was thinking ahead, thinking of what works for the audience. So you always must constantly think that. So number one, the format belongs to NBC Universal. It's not Sonia's. And then I took it to MultiChoice, and then MultiChoice paid for the licensing fee. So now, because they are the money people, it's theirs. I'm just a girl that brought it. That was brave enough.
I see. So
Yes.
so the public is not aware of how it understands, and that's why they'd assume.
That they assume, yeah. I don't, it's not mine, guys. They decide if I'm in or out. And as for now, I'm out.
Sure. And I mean, okay, so, okay, yeah, I mean, for me that sounds unfair, because I mean, you built it, you made it, and, you know, yeah.
The person with the money is the person that controls everything. They decide who must go in, who must come out. They decide if you're good enough or you're not good enough. So,
but why aren't we? Because I mean, just thinking out of the box.
I'm never going the commissioning route. If that's the question,
No, not the commissioning. No, I was not going that direction.
No,
I think I was going more to the direction of
time.
Why aren't we seeing more female producers empowered? Like because I mean, look, you've just said to me that when you run a show, you're hiring about 90 people, right? We've got a huge unemployment crisis. So the media industry can produce jobs, all right? Why aren't we seeing that empowerment? Why is it, because where are we losing it as a country? Because if the media industry can employ people and guarantee these jobs and ensure the economy is growing, why are we not seeing such things being empowered? Why is it?
I think I should ask you that question. I'm not even trying to be funny. I mean, you tell me, because I look at my sister, you know, CONNIE, whom I love with all my heart. I've looked up to her from day one. I mean, every step she's taken, I have taken. Not by copying, but not by mimicking, but that was my ballpark. That was the person I looked up to. Like, you know, started at Soul City, I happened to be on Soul City. Was on Generations, I happened to be on Generations. Made the transition to be a producer, I happened to make the same transition. So this is somebody I've always looked up to and admired and be like, yes, CONNIE, go. And when her husband died, that was the end. That's all I'm going to say about that.
So there's some brutality happening here that, I mean, because I think the people only see TV and then they think it ends there. But there's
as
a
hard
lot.
As she worked, as hard as she has inspired people like myself and millions of others, you know, where are her shows? Where is she now? Back to square one? So it was about the male figure and the male energy.
And I mean, there is proof of this because you're saying that the males continue to get these shows. Like it's evident out there. It's not a conspiracy. It's clear that something needs to change here.
Yeah. It's bad. But yeah, maybe I should ask you that question. Tell us, why? Why is the South African entertainment industry so male dominated? And, you know, and I'm in the same spot, by the way. I'm in the same spot where I have to start from scratch. I'm still knocking on doors. I'm still...
After all these years of experience.
Pitching. Yeah, I'm still pitching. I went to an audition the other day. Like...
Sure. So maybe let's talk about the money, because maybe the issue... So questions, I mean, there's funds that have been set. Government says it's doing this and that and that. Is that money real, or is this a myth that
South Africa. By the way, South Africans, they're like, let us say one more wrong thing. We've got her. No, man. I think I come from a place of honesty. I always come from a place of truth. I don't like filtering myself. I don't like thinking about what I'm going to say. I need the space and the freedom to say what I feel is wrong and where I feel that the changes need to happen. We were compromised as a country a long time ago. We allowed it to happen to us. I mean, I feel like the fact that most countries have to go through a revolution for them to experience the freedom, the democracy. I feel the fact that we didn't go through that, and notwithstanding the toys, notwithstanding 76, not taking anything away from 59, the Mbokodo era. I'm not taking anything away. I'm just saying that we always, as female, have to fight for our rights. We always have to take a placard. We always have to take to the streets to be heard, whereas men shake hands and it's done. I so happened to shoot and I'm sorry, Jonathan, I know I'm not bad-mouthing your Zimbabwean brothers and sisters, but Jonathan is the guy behind the boss, yeah. And he happens to be a friend of mine, and we happen to come a long way. You know? But he is a Zimbo, and he knows it. And he loves it. We need a picture of Jonathan in this part. He loves it. He loves it. He was the first person who will tell you, don't forget I'm Zimbo now. I'm like, yes, Jonathan, we know. Anyway, I so happened to work with a Zimbabwean personality, person of interest, and was like, Sonia, I want you to do this for me. We agreed on the budget, and because I'm female, they literally changed their mind on me, and we had already started filming. So I was left with literally nothing to hold on to, because money was spent on everything that he wanted to be depicted on the pilot. I mean, we had to get Lamborghinis, we had to get houses, because we needed to make it look like, you know, this is the lifestyle. Yes, he does live that lifestyle in Zimbabwe, but in South Africa, we needed to mimic it for the South African audience. And yeah, so I ended up like 500,000 rand short of now paying the crew, and I had to pay them out of pocket. So things like that, and there was a contract in place, by the way. So if things like that still happen, where just because I'm female, he probably looked at me and somebody was saying maybe he wanted to smash that. I was like, no, said nothing about, even if he had asked, it was going to be a no. But we didn't even have a conversation. Sure. Do you understand? So where do you go wrong also as a female producer? What do you do? Do you give it up? Do you sell your soul? Like, what do you do? Even if you try and be professional as you can be. I mean, I remember there was a time it was like, we are not talking, we are not friends, we are here to work. And still, that didn't help, you know. So what do you do, guys? Like, we can't win. I don't know what needs to happen. I think all the females need to go and be cleansed somewhere. Yeah, if you know a pastor.
We need to. Yeah, no, this is, I mean, this for me.
If somebody knows a pastor or some sango, a pastor. And this was a pastor, by the way. Oh. So that's why I'm being sarcastic. But yes.
Sure.
There's no winning. It's a journey. It's a journey. It's something that we still need to strive and fight to change, but it's not today. It's not gonna happen today. Not gonna happen tomorrow. I mean, if you know, people say people like you still, and when they say people like me, I get it. Somebody who has proven themselves and
you
has worked hard.
You've ticked every box there was.
Understand? Yeah. But I still get challenges. I still get challenged. I still get robbed. I still get played. I still get fired. I still get cancelled. So.
And I mean, why do you keep quiet? Because I mean, you've never.
I don't. That's the thing. I don't. I try to articulate the challenges as much as I can, but then also you are dealing in an environment where how dare you speak? Because also these are big entities, right? Taking them on, it means going the legal route, and they will drag it for 20 years.
We saw Vodacom.
You will walk next to your shoes. We saw the Vodacom
20 years.
20 years debacle. So you will walk next to your shoes. You know. Yeah.
No, this is sad because I think for me we're sort of crushing the main things that can create business, and I mean, women are great storytellers.
Hello.
Yeah, sure.
Present.
Yeah, no, we need change. We need change, but without politicizing it too much. I mean, what could be the tangible things? Because I'm thinking, cool, you're a producer, already you've proven yourself. There's no need. You've got concepts. What should change? Should we maybe be then saying that projects should be funded?
I think so. There should be female-funded like there should be Esquama somewhere.
A female fund. I agree with you. Just female. Yeah.
Just female. And the criteria needs to not be a panel of decision makers also, because then we're going back to
the same old
you know. Ay. And so we need to fix it from the root. And that is starting with who is in charge of that entity, who is sitting, what is the criteria, and, you know, is everything being done according to book? And we're a company that we're not lazy. We will sit there, we will fill in those forms, we will follow procedure. But at the end of the day, you still get your male counterparts who make just one phone call.
Yeah, I think that the story of you being aware that somebody's blue ticking you, and when a male counterpart, it's yeah.
It happened to me though.
Sure.
It's like, this is a true story. I'm not making up. Are you gonna bleep that? I'm not. It happened to me. You understand?
Yeah.
We're talking, and I'm not turning myself into a victim whatsoever.
No, completely.
I'm not a victim. I'm just saying these things happen. And when you try and vocalize and be articulate and articulate your frustrations, then you are seen as, don't book her again. Don't work with her again, because that one will go on a podcast and expose you. But I'm not even mentioning names.
You're not, yeah.
You know who you are.
But maybe the solution is that women should speak up, because have we had a Me Too movement in South Africa? Have we? Not
necessarily.
And maybe women need to speak up, because
you know what it is. It's being scared to be circumvented. It's being scared to be marginalized, because you speak. Tuso Mbele tried, and nobody would listen to her. She was labeled this diva, this difficult to work with, and she decided to take her passport, move across the seas. So are we? You know what I mean? And it's not everybody's lucky story.
Yes.
There's only one Trevor Noah. There's only one Thuso Mbele. There's only one Charlize Theron. You know what I'm saying? So we must fight it from here at home. But I think people are scared to speak, because then they know they will never work again in this town.
Sure. That's shocking. And I mean, so obviously you've been through the beautiful transition of TV, and then our Showmax, now Netflix, mind you, like the world is now changing to this digital world. Is there a difference between your Netflixes and your old traditional South African?
Let's not get it wrong. Showmax is multi-choice. Showmax is the country. Showmax is government. The start there.
All right. Okay.
So I don't think they count.
Okay.
In this
so
conversation.
It's still one.
It's
still
family
old.
of.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Let's
Let's
not confuse the viewers.
Okay. No, I'm with you.
So we are left with what on the table?
With just Netflix.
Yeah.
And is that not making it? There's no difference there.
They do their best. I think we'll give them that. We'll give them their props. They do their best. They just also go through phases. Like right now, they're going through phases of doing original IPs, which is your documentaries. They are not looking at original concepts, which is being creative, coming up with the story that God has blessed you with. You wake up in the morning, characters are in your head. They're like, Sonia, guess what? I can be that demon, and I can be, find an exorcism situation here. No, they don't want those stories anymore. They don't want they don't want that anymore. They want true life, based on true life stories. So they go through phases, but at least they do open it up. They do tell you that at the moment we are not looking at that, we're looking at this. So there is guidance. Now okay, if I'm going to tell a story, who is left? Okay, do I tell a Nelson Mandela? Nelson Mandela story, or Tambo, Walter Sisulu. So at least you are guided into, the direction and the genres that they're looking at. But they're the only ones, as far as I'm concerned. They're the only ones. And there's a lot of us. Yeah.
And just from me, getting involved in this and, the podcast world and understanding, okay, camera's not just, what people think it is,
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine that the capital intake, because if they are the ones paying for all the shows, it kind of leaves producers with begging them to sort of, because
essentially,
yeah, because how do you shoot a pilot if you're not funded by them? That means you need to. So I get exactly what you mean when you say that the business model itself is a bit geared towards supporting the old established.
Yeah, those are the people that have the resources. If they want to shoot a pilot, they have to shoot a pilot out of their own pockets.
I think on my side, firstly, thank you for being brave and speaking about these things, because I'm hearing these things for the first time. And I think understanding that you're saying them as they are, it takes a lot of bravery.
It does. I mean, and it's sad that it looks like Sonia is the only one that's speaking. It looks like Sonia is the only one who's shaking the trees. But even the powers that be in these entities, the ones that are supposed to be opening doors, I did say during the commercial break, or the break, was the fact that you deal with people who are treating the environment like their grandmother's kitchen, like you know. So you always have to find yourself tiptoeing. So if you hear that Sonia is no longer working and she's destitute and she's a beggar in the street, you must know it's because there's such conversations, and literally people make sure that you never work again.
We need more people to speak out, because I think your bravery in speaking about these things is very important. But we've heard pockets. I mean, I remember a time where actors were speaking out, and I think that the problem is that because the beast is the media and they own the media, when actors speak out,
There
they come.
you go.
Yeah.
Hence
So
I said, let's remove some people off of this table.
sure. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, if somebody's in the media space and someone speaks out, they can just call their friend the
Oh,
same
yeah.
way you said.
No, I mean, when my shows were on, I had bots in terms of trying to criticize the show. And you could tell, because you could tell this person has 0 followers, but they were bought to literally just, your mandate is to go the negative route. But God is God, and God has given some of us grace, and He's been there, Lapho amanzi ame khona aphinda ame futhi. If you've been blessed once, you will be blessed over and over again, as long as you believe and don't lose your faith. So, I operate, I function by faith.
Sure, that's powerful. I mean, for the businessmen watching out there, because we've got a lot of businessmen watching, we've got a lot of entrepreneurs watching that have not known about this. How do they support some of the ideas that you have? Because I think a lot of them would say, cool, if it means we need to fund a show, let her come and present, or let's have a meeting with her, let's discuss how much is the budget, let's fund it, then sell it to these platforms as a show you own.
You think I haven't tried? The problem becomes when then you sit in a boardroom with these businessmen and they ask you, what is my ROI, right? I'm going to give you the money to shoot whatever it is you're shooting, but what is my return on investment? And if the only platform that you can sell the idea to, for example, the SABC, let's say I shoot and I take whatever it is to SABC, they will make their money through the advertising revenue, right? So also then it's a question of a chicken and an egg. Is SABC going to take this project and put it on the plot? Do you guarantee that?
Yeah.
So now you must go back and say, can I please have a letter of intent that if they give me the money, or when they give me the money to shoot, you will give me the platform to play whatever it is that needs to be played. And then SABC says, by all means, however, you still need to pay us airtime. Because airtime is not for free. So now you've got this project that you've shot. You need a home for it. But even the home says, there's a landlord who says, you need to pay rent.
I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know, I'm sure every viewer watching is thinking, we were not aware, and we are so sorry that you guys had to go through this, because
it's why, as long as the industry is monopolized, we are going absolutely nowhere. Yeah. And work is given, but who gets the work? It's the same companies, if you watch. It's the same companies that are getting the work.
And I think for me, it's an industry where women do so well. I mean, when you were on Generations, you said top 5 people that people were viewing. You've done so well. Women do so well. So we're supposed to see that. I mean, if you had to talk percentage to say the projects that go to men, let's talk budget rather. If the money is 100%, how much do you estimate goes to men? How much do you estimate goes to women? Because by now we should be talking 50-50.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I doubt that's the case, because where are the female producers? I don't see them. People that I started with in the industry, I love them with all my heart, but they're still, in that acting space. So then where are the producers going to come from? They're going to be students that studied at AFDA. Do you understand? So also, again, you are perceived to be new, fresh blood. You need experience. But for you to gain experience, you need to start somewhere. You need to start somewhere and grow. So it's very schizophrenic. It's very lopsided. It's sad, guys. It is sad. But we shall push. We shall continue pushing. We will continue working hard. We will continue finding other ways of making, our projects work and our projects seen. Yeah.
I think for me, we live in a country where jobs are an issue, and I'll always come back to jobs to say we live in a world where jobs is an issue, especially in the country. If the media industry has proven itself to say we can produce this many jobs, because whenever you do a show, there's the castings, there's the whole array of jobs that comes out of it. We definitely need to see government supporting this. We need to see female producers being funded. You should not still, in today's age, 30 years in democracy, still be begging, sorry to use this word, but a function of what began in the apartheid system to allow you to be there. For me, it boggles me to say we've come so far, but it seems that some industries have forgotten.
We've raised this child, guys. This child is no longer a baby. It's an all-grown man who's 30 years old.
30 years old.
And still nothing to show for it.
Sure. I think wrapping up the interview, I want to know what has kept you. I mean, now that we now understand how the industry works and what you've had to go through, what has kept you going? What is that? I mean, you did speak about the children, which I think is beautiful. But in the industry, when you hit these hurdles, what do you do? What is it that?
Please do not even try and tweet about this and come for me. I beg now. I just think because I feel I've got this sense of fearlessness. I've got this drive. I've got this fire. I've got this sense of we need to be fair. If we're going to call it a pot, let's call it a pot. It's not a kettle. So I've got this drive. I've got this Messiah syndrome. And that's why I'm saying don't come for me. I'm not saying I'm one. I'm saying, just now they're like, did you hear? How dare she? Call yourself him. I'm saying I've got this gift, I've got this fire, I've got this mandate that I think I'm given, to understand, to try and be the change that I want to see. Because I realized a long time ago that if I'm also going to be quiet, if I'm also going to be knocking in that grandmother's kitchen and walk from the kitchen to the dining room and papata and brown envelope and do all of these things. If I'm not going to do that, then it means and it's cold out there. So I needed to arm myself with as many jackets and as many, boots and gloves. So I know I'm on the outside, fighting to get inside still after all these years, but I'm also not gonna I'm not gonna apologize for my talent. I'm not gonna apologize for the work that I've done. I'm not gonna apologize for having given a broadcaster their biggest investment to date. I'm not gonna apologize for it. It is what it is. So I'm not gonna stop. And yeah, as long as I'm alive, unless if they send eNCA, but also I've got Jesus.
Amen.
I've got Jesus on my back and my Holy Spirit. So no, but it's not to make a joke about it. Somebody needs to say something. And I felt a long time ago that if I'm not going to be the voice, and there's people out there sitting there saying, Sonia as a producer owes us. Yeah, it's because I'm still owed. So how do I pay you when I'm still owed? Unless if I take my children's bread money and pay you. So you know what I mean? I'm not perfect. I'm a young producer. I'm like, what? I started producing in 2018. So I'm still growing. But we cannot ignore the amount of work that has been done by this particular woman. Do you understand? I'm not perfect. I want to change the narrative. I want to change the environment. But how do I change it if Naming Sakolotwa?
Sure. Someone makes you shoot a show and then
jiggy, heavy. You understand? So how do I? And it's not just them. It's everything that I've done, to a point where it's like, Sonia, if it doesn't make sense to you, don't do it. Do you understand? And it's not doing it for the sake of, I want to work, I want to prove myself, guys, in Kateli, I'm going to do things my way. And if I don't work for the next 10 years, you know why. If you see me folding jeans at Foschini's, you know why. Is because I refuse to sell my soul.
Sure. No, we'll never allow that to happen. I think thank you for being bold. Thank you for being brave. Thank you for telling it as it is. I believe that everybody watching will definitely back you up. And yeah, we can't.
I love you guys.
We can't allow, especially because we need more black female business people.
Yes.
And we can't allow that I don't know what I call it, deep state or whatever they call themselves, but the establishment to kill the very few that we already have, and we say we're progressing. So thank you for being bold, and thank you for being honest.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
I always come a point of a place of truth and a place of honesty. And if I'm going to be the voice, let me be an honest one. Not beat about the bush. It is what it is. I still struggle to get work till today. I have to fight till today. I have to prove myself till today, and it's okay. We'll continue.
Thank you. All right, there we have it. We've got a lot to think about as a country, how we want to define the future, how we want to change things, and it's important that you speak out, because if we allow the people that do these sort of things to continue winning, where are we going as a society? So it's important that each and every one of you speak out, and we let this message go out there to say what South Africans are going through. We can't keep quiet about it. We must change things. There must be justice, there must be empowerment, there must be improvement within our nation. Thank you for joining us.